Okay, and we're live. So, Philip, will you be wrangling the call? Or?
Actually, I think Vanessa is probably the right person to wrangle the first part, where we wanted to talk about this course on. I'll probably butcher this, but essentially open internet governance. And we have someone here who's working with Carolina Rossini, who or I at least have known for many, many years from the Creative Commons world. And it's a collaboration with School of Open, but also its own thing. And we also have Nathan here, who's here for a totally different reason. He works as the community manager at Khan Academy, and he's got some interesting ideas around social learning, and would like to have a bunch of people to kind of dive into them. And so I suggested to him that if he wanted to look at using the P2PU community call as a vehicle for that, and maybe help us program one of the monthly calls to focus on the kind of the questions that he has, then that might be interesting. And the best way to figure that out would probably be to join the community call and talk about his idea. So hopefully we get to that as well. And there's Carolina, who I just mentioned briefly. So actually, maybe over to Carolina, and giving maybe Vanessa has a hand.
Yeah. Before we do that, welcome guests. Maybe we should all say a little bit about ourselves and just do a little quick intro. Carolina likes that idea. I'll go first. My name is Vanessa Generelli. I'm the learning lead at P2PU University. I work on building learning communities on the web and all that entails. And very, very psyched to see you face-to-face, Carolina, and that we found some time. Philip, who are you?
Co-founder, executive director of P2PU, and yeah.
All right, cool. I'm just going to call Nathan. You want to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name's Nathan. Known Philip since we met at South by Southwest EDU probably three years ago when I was writing for KQED. I've done a lot of education writing, education work, and community work. Most recently was at IDEO, helping lead their community for a online product called Open IDEO, and just very recently, just started 3 weeks ago, working at Khan Academy, helping to lead their community. And we're starting to think about some social learning stuff, and I've just been looking for some sort of outlets to find more people who are interested in that topic, and so reached out to Philip, and here I am.
Welcome, welcome. And actually, just a quick word before we go down the line. So the way this call works is that if you want to talk, you write hand in the chat, and as the wrangler, I will call on you in the order that your hand was raised. But first, we're going to finish with our delightful, tasty little intros. So, Natalie, hi! Oh, you're muted. Let's make that not the case. Oh no, she's still muted.
Natalie, you are muted.
Well, if that's the, do you want to type who you are and what you do? Okay, cool. We'll just watch Philip drink some water. That's cool. It's your daily message, P2PU. Stay hydrated.
Exactly.
All right.
That was gin.
Cheers. That's not transparent because it's whiskey.
Natalie, you work with Carolina on international policy at PK. Background is in human rights advocacy. Bad ass. Advocacy training, Amnesty. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. Jane, who are you?
Hi everyone, I'm Jane Park. I work with Creative Commons and P2PU, and we're doing the School of Open with P2PU. So I think that's why I'm here, to talk to Carolina.
Awesome. And Erica, who are you?
Hi everyone. I am a developer at P2PU University, currently working with Jane on School of Open and lots of other stuff as well.
Right on. Dirk, who are you?
So I'm Dirk. I'm also a developer at P2PU. Currently actually busy finishing up a project we did with Mozilla called Teach the Web. So, yeah, that's it.
Solid. And Carolina, who are you?
Hi guys. I am a OER enthusiast, working with OER for a bunch of years, and currently I just learned my new title at Public Knowledge. I'm the Vice President for International Rights and Strategy. Woohoo! So thank you so much for all your time and joining us in this kind of little dream of us of open course on internet rights and internet governance.
Let's talk about let's do a quick recap on your projects. Which Natalie or Carolina, would you like to give everyone on the call like a little bit of background?
Sure. So, as you know, the issues that face internet regulation and policy are getting more and more complex, and everywhere you go, you have certain sectors being represented and certain sectors underrepresented. And among those underrepresented, you do have users and you do have actually public interest organizations in many cases. And you also have a whole new generation of folks that want to understand these issues, and sometimes they don't know how to start, right? So there are some courses that are heavy weight on internet governance. They are certificate courses from Ziplo Foundation or the ISO community, which are very old, tech-driven community on internet issues. But there is nothing that is very focused on public interest, human rights, and user rights, right? You see, there is a core role for expertise to be provided and institutional skills and advocacy skills to be provided to a huge grassroots movement and individuals that want to go to the streets when they see protests in Europe or in the US, right? So they want to, a lot of times that is an opportunity to engage more people. So that's the idea. And since I know peer-to-peer since it was founded, I do think it's the ideal platform and community to reach and to partner in the implementation of this course. This course needs to be a very lightweight course, and it's going to serve as a hub of information to help these newcomers navigate this world, and does not aim to be a very complete or heavyweight course. It's really like a door of entry to the issues. So that's it. Natalie, do you want to add anything? But write out in the chat if you want to add anything if your thing doesn't work.
All right, Philip has a hand.
I'm quick on the draw today. So I can just say that this is just an issue that I think is extremely important and becoming more important so. And one of my questions, we just had a long conversation on the MIT Media Lab mailing list about something related. There's this merger of very large cable companies in the US that might go through, which creates a de facto monopoly in the wire to your broadband to your house market. And there's a real threat to net neutrality in that space. But so people were asking for information, which is, I think, the first piece that you talked about, Carolina, that people need kind of a quick way of understanding what are the key issues. But then more importantly, or not more, but equally importantly, kind of the next step is everyone said, well, what can I do? And the first response was write to your representative in Congress. And that felt really dissatisfying, both to our community, but also I don't think people trust that really will drive it will be the thing, the one thing that will make sure we can prevent these developments. And so one question that I would ask for your course is, like, what's the kind of the big button on the side that says what can you do, or what can I do, and helping people get started to do something about these issues. And so building a community of people who actually want to do something about this, I think would be fantastic.
Is that your? And I have an add-on question to that for Carolina and Natalie. Do you envision this hub as being a place where people share their projects that they've taken to the streets to sort of protect the open web or net neutrality? And once people know about this, know about these sort of core issues, yeah, what do you expect them to do? Big questions. Natalie.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I think one of the way that we have the course set up now and what we're thinking is that the first half of the course, the first three or four modules are about advocacy training, and specifically on tactics and skills that people can use to actually advocate for the issues. So I think from there, people are going to learn about things that they can do to actually advocate on the ground, especially like grassroots movements. And I think one of the questions we sort of had for this call was about on the peer-to-peer platform, how people interact, because I saw that there's like discussion that you can like reply to things in comments, but that's something we wanted to learn more about, because we figure there's going to be lots of people who might have human rights experience and advocacy experience who want to share their ideas. So we do want to have something like that, so we were wondering like how on the platform we'd go about that actually.
You said the first half will be about advocacy, and the second half?
Sorry, I had lost this window for a while. I didn't know where it was.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said the first half was about advocacy. And the second half is about?
Yeah. So the first half of the course is going to be about. It's more of a training on advocacy, like skills building tools. So learning about different types of tactics that are used to promote human rights. So there's stuff about e-activism, there's stuff about how to plan an event, and then there's also stuff about how do you figure out who your allies are, how do you do interviews with media. So those are going to be sort of the hard skills on actually how to advocate. And then the second half of the course is going to be more about what you're actually advocating for. So what are the issues that you should know about?
Carolina has a hand.
Yeah, and just to clarify, one thing that Philip was referring specific to the US, right? Our course, this course, we are building a lot of it in English because we have arranged advisory board with Spanish-speaking and English-speaking folks. But our main goal for the first class is actually Spanish-speaking. So the course we would then publish in peer-to-peer. Of course, if we have both versions, it's going to be both versions, right? But our course is going to be focused on Spanish advocates and users, right? So it's Latin America primarily at the beginning. Why I say that? Because, for example, Philip, there is not going to be, oh, if you are dealing with FCC specifically, these are the actions you can do in US in terms of advocacy or lobby, right? So I don't want to raise a lot of expectations in terms of extreme concrete things, because those change a lot depending on the event and the place and the level of policy you are working with, right? From regional to international in terms of multilateral and multi-stakeholder. So those change a lot. But what we do still see in civil society is a lack of skills, even to develop your strategic planning, to understand your mission, and after those goals and strategic planning is set, what are the tactics you're gonna have? And things like that are response to the FCC work on the Comcast merger and this stuff on net neutrality, right? These are very targeted. One thing I would love to adopt, for example, is the folks taking the course bring on their own examples and share their own tactics. Oh, I did this at a certain event, and that was the result. And of course, one of the things we will do is a series of interviews or podcasts that will be placed within the course. That's the idea, right? So you have a 5 to 7 minutes expert testimony on something they did, right? So we are now focusing more on the first set of modules, which I call horizontal because they are skill setting, and then the second set of modules, I call them vertical because they are focused on subject matters of internet governance and human rights in the internet. So that's a little bit how. And our core need here is to understand from firsthand what are all the tools that you see are available to make this interesting and to make this engaging, or anything you can share with us in terms of how make a successful peer-to-peer course, you know?
Does anyone have a hand? And also, I'm doing my best. I'm not usually the note taker or the wrangler. So if people want to periodically check in with the notes and make sure, keep me honest is what I'm saying. So Philip has a hand.
Well, I think one way of really getting people to engage is to give them the space to make it relevant to their local context. So that's a big challenge, I think, if you have a very broad audience, like the Spanish-speaking world. There's so many different countries, and I'm sure at the kind of lower level of policy, the differences are huge. But still, I think if you design for activities where people work, essentially understand the issue and then try to do something about them in their local context and share with others who are maybe going through the same process, even though they're dealing with different regulation, they're following different tactics, but they have the same goal. I think that helps people engage in a deeper way with the community of other people. So creating space for them to make it, to apply it to their local context, I think is really important.
Noted. And I +1 at the same time. Jane?
So I agree with what Philip said. I had a question about whether this is going to be run fully online or if there's going to be a hybrid offline component. I feel like even if there isn't one planned right now, it'd be great to plan kind of an optional offline local component where you kind of give like a toolkit for how to meet up once a week or once every 2 weeks to discuss the course in your local city or whatever. Because if it's all in Spanish, it's running across all of Latin America, you're probably going to get a variety of participants, and there's a lot of advocates within Latin America, within the CC affiliate community as well, and so just encouraging people to run their own local workshops and reporting back to the course, I think that would be great.
Yeah, the idea is really to train the trainer, right? Because we would love to bring more people to then teach the class in the peer-to-peer project. And that's a question for you guys. Like, is it possible to develop a course that can be mediated and also just taken by a self-paced learner? So that's a question for you. How do you see that? What is the design around things like that? And I would love to, Philip, if he could expand a little bit on that. In terms of local, I hope people, we're going to encourage those meetings. There is no funding for that, but we're going to encourage, and hopefully we can find funding from that if we show the need, right, in a second moment. And in terms of Latam, I'm going to share with you guys a web link, this is not public yet, but I just want you to see it. I did mention to Philip in an email But this is the website for this coalition of public interest organizations. I am in the advisory committee for this website, and it's still under development, but at least it's wonderful because you're going to see tons of organizations mapped in the region. And there is a very complete IDRC report coming out on this that Francisco Vera prepared from Chile. He's from Chile. So there is potential, and the idea is with time you can then partner with these local organizations and do more local outreach. And since the course do not aim at creating new stuff, because there is tons of stuff created, we're just gonna create when needed, right? We really wanna curate and point to the materials of these organizations, so we also legitimizing them and their original work, right?
I'm gonna have a hand. So Carolina, I'd love to work with you, Carolina, and Natalie. I'd love to work with you on this curriculum. Do you guys have an established curriculum that you're working with? And in particular, I think I can help be more granular with the kinds of projects that Philip is referring to, the sort of connecting it to local communities. So do you have a curriculum you're working with now? And two, when do you envision running this course? And are there other like strategic partners that you're working with, or is it?
So the timeline for launch is January. I wanna Nathan explain a little bit the curricula so far, but what we did, I had an intern last year, and also Natalie, who is what is your, well, we just had a change in titles in PK, but she's a program associate. And we have done a huge benchmark of everything that's available out there, and we are still capturing material, right? Because again, the idea is to create what's there, what's open license, and then be a hub, but of course have certain content written in Spanish because the majority of content of materials available are in English. We have a advisory board. I'm gonna place here the names, and Natalie, do you wanna go ahead? And I think we are able to share with you what we have done so far. I just did a review.
Yeah, so we've started developing half. Yeah, so it's split between the first half, which is, you know, the skills building, and then the second half. So right now we're on the first half. So Carolina said, we've basically done a benchmark, all the materials out there that have to do with advocacy, that have to do with skills building, basically anything that's open source and that we can use for the course. And so we've broken it down, the first 3 modules, into what types of skills we want people to learn in each one. So we do have a very basic curriculum for the first half of the course. We haven't started too much on the second half yet because we haven't fully developed the content for the skills building section. So yeah, we have like a very bare bones curriculum for the first half.
Awesome. Well, I would love to be able to jump in with you guys as you're developing this stuff, we can work together on feedback and interactions. And I know that to be part of School of Open, Jane has a review process. Jane, does everybody know about the review process for School of Open on this call?
I think I told Carol on our call before the holidays in December, but I can paste in the pad here again because I'm sure. Yeah. It's essentially very lightweight. We just require 2 community reviews from School of Open. One of them will obviously be me, and the other one can be someone else from the School of Open community, and they just look at the course and provide feedback, maybe according to the P2PU rubric of green, yellow, red, where they just point out some concerns or questions, and they point out what's great, what they think is great, and then you incorporate the feedback. And then once that's incorporated, we decide to feature it at School of Open. And there's kind of rough guidelines for what makes School of Open course a training program. Our approach is essentially not assuming already that open tools will result in something better, but that people are already doing certain practices or whatnot, and how can open tools or resources make it better? So using the internet, how can open tools and resources make you a better internet citizen in this case?
So I put down in the pad that the next steps are to share the curriculum with Vanessa, and then I can work with you on the sort of feedback and interactions and the pure learnify it of the process. I'm working on a project right now to sort of show people how to do peer learning in a box. But in the meantime, the sort of basic outline of how I think about how to design a peer learning course is this series of slides. And I'm gonna how to build an open learning course. And that's right here. I'm gonna put it in the pad. Do you see how to build an open learning course? And it's definitely not complete, but you can think about how to peer learnify your course in that way. There's something else I wanted to say about that. What was it? Oh, also please, if you want to sort of get a sense of how we review courses so that you can see how other courses are integrating peer learning into their course, we'd invite you to join the people.p2pu.org so you can see how we give feedback to other people who are in the same position that you are going to be in. Might help you build your P2PU knowledge cache in the future. Other questions? Carolina has a hand. Oh, but she's muted.
No, my question is, so I was reviewing and I asked that to Jane already in the past. Reviewing the School of Open courses, they are all about open science, open data, OER, etc. Do you guys really think the identity of this course is within the School of Openness? I just want to be sure that the identity of the school is clear for me. It was great because I know there is tons of effort on it, and I know you guys are going to put tons of outreach in it, so it's going to attract tons of people for this course. But do you still see it's within that frame? I just, like, it's more a question for you than for me. For me, I don't have any issues, you know? What you would need to kind of be sure the course has to be adequate to the identity?
Just let you jump in there, Jane.
Yeah, so I mean, from my perspective, it's a great fit. So the courses you see right now at schoolofopen.org, those are just the online courses we have, but we have a new website that I just posted in the link to, where we list all the training programs and workshops and courses that are going on around the world, and you can see that Africa has an Activated Africa course, and anything that has to do with open internet rights, I think, very well has to do with School of Open. And if people protest, then that will come out in the review process, where we send a course draft to the School of Open group, and people comment and provide feedback. And if anyone thinks strongly that it shouldn't be in the School of Open, then they will have a chance to say so at that point. But I think, from my perspective, that it is.
Okay, perfect. So the idea is we should frame it very clear on, like maybe even the names like open internet and activism for open internet. So maybe that this word open should be there, and then net neutrality discussed towards our open, human rights discussed toward a concept of open internet, because open internet can mean a lot of things depending on the dimension of the internet we're talking about. But I think it's a good frame. So that's what we're gonna need help probably from Vanessa and Jane in terms of, one with Vanessa is please help us make this look beautiful, and Jane is help us in terms of vocabulary to ensure that the frame is correct, you know, and then and I think that Vanessa, by next week, Natalie is gonna work on the comments I gave her, and I think next week we can give to you. And the modules are divided by like what, how, when, why, you know, and then we map the skills towards those broad questions, you know, that are related to strategy.
Awesome. So I just received those notes from Natalie, so I look forward to working on that. I did want to talk about really quickly the what we can do as far as one week a month to have this conversation about open social learning to help out Nathan from Khan Academy. If you wanted to jump in and say something about why you're here, Nathan, and how we can help you.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much. It's been really interesting hearing the conversation. I've been kind of really enjoying just all the different stuff you guys are working on and learning about. So my kind of purpose in talking with you guys a little bit today is twofold. One is just to learn more about what different people are doing with social learning around the web. I know there's so many different ways you can do it, and also there's so many different ways it happens at different scales. And then also to maybe see if you guys are interested in starting a conversation around it. We at Khan Academy are thinking about some different types of social learning. I don't know how much you guys know about Khan Academy, but we have a pretty decent scale for a lot of math learning topics, and there are people who've just mastered skills and people who are struggling on skills. And we're starting to think about like how could you maybe put some of them together without having some of the serious liabilities like chat roulette had, or like having anonymous identities that could cause problems, or there's kind of a whole bunch of privacy concerns. And so we're trying to get smarter about how we could do that and how other folks are doing that. So that's one thing that we're kind of thinking about, and would love to kind of learn with other folks around how you guys are doing it and what we don't know, and what I don't know even. I'm sure other people kind of know a lot more than I do. And then the second thing I'm interested in talking with you guys about is something I sent to Philippe, which is just some sort of philosophies of social learning and what it really means. And I've been chatting with a couple folks about, the internet is this place where anyone, it's kind of supposed to be this access leveling playing field where anyone can access high quality learning, anyone can access other things, and yet it sometimes feels lonely, like a lonely learning environment. And it's really interesting to think about why that is the case and how we could help make that no longer be the case, and that anyone who wants to learn the internet feels like they actually have a built-in group of people to learn with, and just kind of make it feel like that's part of the philosophy of learning online. So that's a topic I'm really interested and excited about, and starting to explore how, kind of the personalization of learning and helping you find out what you need to learn conflicts with having a community to do that, and how you can kind of combine those two things. So I don't know if this is the right place or not. Philippe just kind of told me, hey, come check it out, and hey, I came and checked it out, and so just putting out my ideas there, and I'm interested to see if they have any resonance, see if there's anything you guys would point me to, or see if there's anyone that you would want me to talk to, or if there's something more we should do here together.
Well, I have a hand. So you said that the internet is both at once like busy and lonely, and how can we change that? We at P2PU we've done like a ton of work on cohorts. We think a lot about how to design learning experiences to be like small and vulnerable. And we have this series of reports that we've written about what makes what we found about cohorts and what makes them work, and I just put them in the chat. We've tried cohorts based on geographic location. We've tried cohorts based on different sizes, and we've tried cohorts based on musical taste. And the findings that and learning creative learning. How did you run cohorts? It was geographic first, right, Philip, and then people self-selected. Yeah. So something that we think a lot about is how to find your crew in an online course. And the way that I'm thinking about it now is that finding your crew and finding who to ask is just as important as having the right question. And what we've designed for with Play With Your Music is we gave people a given family. We gave people like their built-in family, which was their musical taste. Like I was with all punk, riot girls, and then as people went through the course, they found their family of choice. And I think that emergent communities and emergent mentorship is going to be much stronger than anything that we can assign. And that's one of the reasons why we've been thinking about, when we design discourse communities, how to use sub-communities and sub-channels for people to break off their own sub-communities and help each other. So I would point you to the reports, and I have office hours between 9 and 10 a.m. every Monday if you want to come and hang out with me and talk about these ideas. But also, another idea would be if you have something that Eastern, if you're Eastern. Sorry, being Eastern centric always gets me in trouble. If there are things that you would like to talk about with the community, you can always add a reading to the community call announcement, and we'll all read it, and maybe we can have a discussion about it 1 week a month. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, it's interesting when you're talking about courses, but it's also really interesting when you're talking about things that go beyond courses. Like, if you have a set course, that's one way of trying to find social. If you're learning about a topic and you're Google searching for it and you're looking for resources around the web, how do you kind of find that community then? And then B, for Khan Academy, we have a lot of people who are doing work at their own pace. So they go, they're doing sort of the K-12 math curriculum at whatever pace they feel is right. But we want to be able to help them learn faster and learn better and find that community. And so I think that's kind of another interesting topic. But yeah, I love that idea. I mean, is it interesting for more people? I don't want to sort of monopolize time here in your calls, and if monthly doesn't feel like the right tempo, but this is something I'm really passionate about, and at Khan we're definitely starting to think about. So I thought it might be worth reaching out to a few folks.
Get a thumbs up from Erica. Well, we have a hand from Philip.
Well, it's my old hand still, but
sorry, I suck at this.
You asked two questions. The first one was very specific about like issues like privacy and stuff, and I think the Scratch people would have some good expertise in that area because they also deal with younger users. We don't really have a lot of expertise with younger users, but that would be kind of coming to your second question and combining the two. So I think it would be great to have a monthly call where, for example, 1 month we make it about privacy and peer learning for young online participants, and we invite people from the Scratch community. You're there. Maybe we find someone else, and we really. But the calls are really for us to figure this out together. It's not us telling other people how to do it, right? Like I want it to be a conversation where like we're all getting something out of it. And picking a topic each month that is like that we grapple with, and then inviting some people and having a great conversation about it, and doing that as kind of a conversation series, I think would be fantastic. And if you wanted to work with us on like programming them and inviting some people and maybe getting the word out also, I think that would be interesting. I mean, the way you describe kind of the way you got into this, like the description about the web, and it's this great, it's kind of exactly why P2PU started. So I don't know if Jane was listening at the time, but that's when we had our first workshop in, I think 2009 or something. The tagline was a social wrapper around existing open educational resources, because exactly what you said, it felt lonely. Right? Like there's all this stuff out there, but you don't have other people to learn with. And so I think that is still the core question. And we've, as Vanessa says, we've tried answering it in many different contexts, but there are so many other contexts of, size of the community. Like Stack Exchange, for example, is I think another fascinating case study. I think Khan Academy, would be great to dig into some of those questions in the context of Khan Academy. And then the whole MOOC stuff, right, that's emerging now. Like, there's so many interesting things there. So yeah, I mean, having a conversation series about this or / community call, I think would be great.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm completely think it's a really cool topic too. So I'm glad you guys do as well. The one thing I'm thinking about is definitely the right format. I don't know how many people you can have on this like Google Hangout. So I'm wondering if we start to get more and more people, if this is going to be the right format or not. I don't know how much attention we will or won't get, But I sent Philippe a little Twitter essay I'm going to write about this topic, and I'm hoping to drive some signups for it. And then I think we could probably continue to evolve our thinking. And I wonder, what the right size is. Maybe we do want to start small and grow bigger. But I love the idea of it being a learning session more than a presentation session. It's always more interesting. And so I think we just need to find the right format, and would love to kind of think about that with you guys. Cool. Well, thanks for letting me pour some of my thoughts into here. Really appreciate it.
I just want to say something about that. So besides public knowledge, Nathan, I also do a lot of work on open educational resources in Brazil. I even pasted there the website of the work there that I founded this in 2008. And Khan Academy is huge in Brazil. You guys are working with the Lehman Foundation. We actually went there recently, actually last year, to pull their ears because they translated everything and took the Creative Commons license out of the content. So we went there to talk to them about that. So anything you guys want to count with us, I would love to follow up with you on that and peer-to-peer and get you guys the support of OER Brazil too with my partners on the ground there. But that's a parallel conversation to what recursos educacionais abertos. So we are Brazil with you guys on this.
Nice. Yeah, we get a lot of feedback from Brazil, and it's really interesting. In Portuguese, I have no idea what to do with it. We need to find better ways to respond to it. So thanks for sharing, and
let me know if I can help, or I can really put you in touch with a huge community. Our community started with me, and now, for example, in our Facebook, we have more than almost 1,000 users and workshops popping up everywhere and support with a bunch of people. So it's very exciting there.
Cool. Yeah, let's chat more. Sounds good.
All right, and with that, we have 4 minutes left on the call. Should we call it? Anyone else have any other questions or hands? Natalie has a hand. Jane has a hand.
Yeah, I had a question about, I noticed on a lot of the courses that there's badges, and I was wondering if you think that those badges have really been good motivators for students, like how effective you think they are, and maybe in what ways that they can be implemented similarly or differently. I just wanted to hear about how students react to those.
Well, it's probably a longer conversation than 4 minutes, but and I'm happy to talk to you about that. I would actually frame it a little differently. I don't know that I would start at motivating for students. I would say that I worked with this classroom in the Bronx with Paul Allison of the National Writing Project. And the way that we have our system designed is that peers create badges and then they award them to each other. And they award them to each other using red, yellow, green feedback, which is, as Jane mentioned, our standard rubric. And if the project hasn't achieved the requirements for the badge, folks are prompted to revise and resubmit. So it's definitely not a gamification model or this sort of behaviorist model of motivation and engagement. It's a way more intrinsic motivation, portfolio-based assessment. And the students, when I was working with the National Writing Project folks, and the students in this course, what was adorable is after the students made badges, they had such investment in awarding them to each other, and the one student decided not to award a badge to a teacher because the teacher really hadn't put in enough work on the project. So for things like the deeper learning MOOC or the connected learning MOOC, the badges have been really popular, and there's also an organization. There's a Swedish professional educator professional development organization that's been finding them very effective. But it's definitely for it's kind of different than I think the Khan Academy would think about it. The Khan Academy would think about it in terms of very granular skills. We think about it in terms of very summative projects that require iteration and mentorship. But I can work with you on badges all day. Dirk pointed to some resources that we've written about badges and assessments, and happy to work with you on implementing those and designing them. And I really see badges as a way to build your learning community on the web. A badge is the the sort of anchor of knowledge that people get excited about and share around. So, is that clear?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. All right, and with that, I'm gonna wish you all adieu. This will be broadcast if you want to refer back to it, and I'm gonna put all these resources in the notes, and I will share it with the people. But there was one more hand, but I think that we have escaped that time. So, at any rate, be well. Oh, Jane, bye.